Last week, the winner of the race in Monza was decided from strategic masterclass and awareness. This week, we race in Baku, and this race last season was decided based off of a late safety car, ERS management, DRS tactics, and a thrilling finish. Actually, it was Tier 1's closest finish. We've had lots of storylines so far this entire RPL season. Just a few of them to go over. Our first three races, we've had the pole sitter win the race, but we've not had the pole sitter win since then. Florian Fanzelter took pole at his home race in Monza, but also won his home race, other one, in Imola. Egg got his first win. Florian got his first win. TB and Jack have been swapping victories. And ironically enough, some of those victories are at tracks that they've lost in heartbreaking fashion in the past. So a little bit of redemption for them. Will it be redemption for anyone tonight? You gotta wonder what Season 12, Round 12 in Azerbaijan will provide tonight. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, and alongside me is RPL Titan Iron. Titan, we've commentated few races here at this circuit. We commentated Season 10 here. Obviously, it got decided in the storage room after. But the last two times you've commentated here, Tier 1 and Tier 3, we've ended up deciding this race based on photo finishes, neck and neck to the line. Will we see that a third time in a row with you on comms? Welcome along, by the way. Oh, you're cutting out. Oh, we're connecting. What's happened? What has happened? I see that now, yeah. Yeah, you started your sentence for me and then, I couldn't hear you. I don't know what happened, but let's hope that does not happen again. Thank you for the invite back, but yeah, will we see another drag race to the line? Make sure you re-include your audio because of it. Re-include it. I know it. I hate that.
Is it good now?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
I know, right? Anyways.
Yeah, so like I was trying to say for the third time now. Yeah, drag racing, I'm looking forward for it to happen again. Who knows which position it will be for this time. It could be anything. Racing's fun, but also the commentary between us is actually pretty fun. I mean, I could never forget in Tier 3 where, even though the context, you didn't mean it, was when you compared Beatnik to the Chicago Bears of all things, and he's still cross about that to you.
Yeah, I know. Hey, but tonight's going to be a fun race, as you were saying. Photo finishes at the circuit, even good finishes at the circuit. We had a Williams finish P4 in this race last season, a Haas qualified P4 here in Season 10. That was Minico.
Absolutely.
We have the potential for a Haas to finish in P4 again. We had that earlier in Spa this season. Their only other time was back in Baku Season 4, or Season 3 it might have been, when Luke Range won. It was Harrison M. who did that. But yeah, nonetheless, lots of interesting things ahead of tonight's race. Let's tell you about the championship standings, because once again, Monza provided another swing in the championship challenge. Jack leading the thing by 9 points over TB. Leo Lund, who has a race ban, not racing tonight due to reaching 12 penalty points. He's 42 points back, so you kind of can take Leo Lund out of this conversation for a little bit. Florian is 4th, Skither's 5th. McLaren have ran away with it, but hey, you never know what could happen. 155 points back is Mercedes, Red Bull in the fight, Aston Martin in the fight. Ferrari are 5th. They actually may have a chance to win tonight. You just don't know. I mean, we always say everyone has a chance to win, but 22 races, I believe, since their last victory and also their last pole. They've got Alex Norris, who won here in Tier 3, and he's doing quite quick times in time trial. That has to translate to the race for the previous Tier 3 and Tier 2 driver. So, with those championship standings, we'll go over in just a few moments' time our lineups tonight, because I'm telling you, last week we thought, or last season here, we thought it was wacky. With the drivers we have tonight, we might see something a little bit extra. Titan, TB is 9 points back. Jack is 9 points ahead. Who do you favor in this title fight of both McLarens? Jack made it clear early on that he wanted just to win the Constructors. They look like they have that settled right now, but obviously things can change. They have a comfortable enough gap. Their drivers' championship gap, they're far enough ahead of Leo Lund and Florian to fight amongst themselves. Do we think we have an inner McLaren war ahead of us, or do we not? And if so, to either one, who do you give the favorite to?
Well, let's see. This is actually a very difficult choice. I mean, both drivers, they got a great respect for each other. They race well. Their teamwork is exceptional. They've they steer clear in regards to like clashing together and getting into incidents and stuff. TB has a bit more experience. TB has more experience on him than Jack. He's also a previous Tier 1 champion. Now, Jack, though, is a multi-time Tier 2 champion, so he has that. He has that for him. So, I mean, it could go either way, but I mean, if the two wind up having a good friendly competition going forward, I would have to say, mainly based off of the results and everything so far in this season, I have to say that I believe Jack has the edge over TB, just in regards to like where he finishes in races and all that stuff. So I think in that kind of perspective, Jack has the edge, but it's just a small, minuscule advantage. I think these two are just quite equal.
They both are driving probably at their best, you could say, right now, and it's really good to see.
That's why
Either way,
it's too difficult.
Okay, I just want to clarify for those of you watching and those of you in the driver's chat. Tadpole is in the Sauber. On lineups, he's in the Haas. Tadpole just said he got distracted. He was not able to select a car. That's why I said Tadpole, although Invade says he's in the Haas. He is not in the Haas right now. He went Sauber because he got distracted. So either way, that's what we'll start on getting talked about with our lineups for tonight. Our lineups, let's tell you about them. George Up Williams on loan tonight to Aston Martin. He is replacing for tonight, not Cryptic, but the other Aston, not Ding anymore because Ding has moved up. We'll talk about that in a moment. He's replacing Willow for tonight, I believe, because he is not here. Alex Norris is in the Ferrari. Remember, NRM KVS, he's not here tonight. So Alex Norris gets the chance to fill the big shoes. TSR Cryptic in the Mercedes because Florian Van Zelter's not here. HSR Gecko's in the Red Bull. Andrea's in the Alpine. Torn Penguin is in the V-Carb alongside his ex-Tier 2 teammate FX7 Danny. These two have good chemistry. The race ban, Leo Lund. Cookie is in Aston Martin. He is also reserving here. He is getting his chance to race once again since being traded to the Mercedes Academy. JTK is in the Alpine. He raced in Tier 2 yesterday and is racing once again in Tier 1. Maxwell is in the Haas. He was supposed to be in the Sauber, but we told you what happened with Tadpole. Goatley's in the Sauber. Ding is in the Mercedes, and because of the trade that happened with Ding, Skither, and Willow, Ding is in the Mercedes, no longer the Aston. Skither's in the Ferrari, and Willow is in the Aston Martin. Blue Goggy raced in Tier 2 yesterday. He is in the Williams. He had a disastrous race here in Tier 2 yesterday. Not here at Baku, but here at Baku the last season.
Can I step in for just a second, please?
Just one moment. I know you're going to go over, if I'm correct. But Goggy got his first points here last season. Danny once again in the V-Card. Remember, that's full-time. Knights in the Haas. Tadpole in the Sauber. Remember, Skither in the Ferrari. We'll go on to Dings on board while Titan goes over what he was going to go over.
Yeah, I was just going to mention on two things. So just recently, as you note, here on the graphics here, you see Tadpole in the Sauber, Maxwell in the Haas. Per Jack Miles, he has said that he is not restarting because of Tadpole's mistake. So because of that, Tadpole and Maxwell will have qualifying bans, which means by the end of Q1, P6, whoever's in P16, P17, and P18 will be knocked out of Q1. That is the word from Jack. Um, and then one other little thing I just want to briefly mention on here, if you haven't noted it as of right now, um, regarding next season, George just put in the team principal chat that there is a possibility that the academies could be changed
Correct.
around for next season. But a couple hours prior to that, another driver was signed for season 13. That is KVS. He is going to be going to VCarb.
Remember, with Skidder and Alex Norris both in Ferrari, KVS obviously missing tonight, but Pascal, who got that race ban, actually season ban, excuse me, it's a bit tougher for Inve to select who to put in certain cars, so certain people are getting the chances in Ferrari now, and other places, as you can see in that Ferrari Academy. The trouble for Maxwell in that situation, though, is he already had a qualifying ban to serve. Oh, egg bounces off the wall, but as I
Yep.
was just saying, Maxwell may have another one to serve at his next expense, so yeah, Tadpole really messed up there. With Ding being on inners, he's not going to be the first representative car to cross the line. We'll have others come behind that, but I just want to go over some of the things you were talking about. You said there's a potential with academies being changed. Just remember, next season is on F125. Next game, that is. Just remember, Haas is switching to Toyota engines. They're not going to be part of Ferrari anymore. Maybe that will be part of it. Maybe it won't. One of the things that I did hear about George saying as well is the fact that he mentioned on the Tier 3 stream over the weekend on Thursday that we will potentially undergo a new point system. That's a possibility, but again, just a rumor, he said, and might try it out. Don't know if we will or not, but like we said, just a rumor.
Maybe
One
maybe
other
an IndyCar style, maybe IndyCar style if they're thinking
Who
that.
knows? Who knows? We'll find out. But that will be very interesting for RPL's sake. And because of what you said about the academies, the TPs, as far as I'm aware of, and the TPs for next season, which I'll go over one of the new ones in a moment, they have been told not to sign anyone in lower tiers. Yes, no one to be signed in lower tiers. Cookie's getting a little tow from Skidder right here. And this is the first I'm going to mention qualifying laps because we got TB on top. And look at this slipstream Cookie is getting. Cookie, second fastest because of that. He may have prevented himself from being in between both Red Bulls, a car used to race in. But yeah, I was just going to say, we've got academies kind of decided for Tier 1 already, or sorry, seats decided for Tier 1 already within the academies. So, although they're not allowed to sign anyone in lower tiers, we do have Tier 1 seats starting to fill up. And speaking of that, you spoke of one of those things, KVS and VCarb. Well, we also have Maxwell in the Williams and Alex Norris in the Sauber for next season.
Well, I can also say that there is. Oh, Blue Gagi just clipped the wall in the castle.
Trouble there.
And I
Incident
just
for
caught
Gaki.
that when I switched over
Me
to
too.
him. Yeah. But I will also note because it's not going to be announced until a couple of rounds later. But one of the Alpines for Tier 1 next season is taken. But the individual that I have approached and he did accept, he and I did agree together that we will wait until a couple of rounds later to announce who the individual is. Now, the only hint that I will be dropping on who this individual is that this individual um did has only has done a few races this season. And that is where I'm going to leave it at that. Because if I say anything
Interesting
else,
stuff.
I will make it too obvious.
Well, I'll make one thing obvious, even though it's not been announced. we do have a new Alpine/McLaren Academy team principal next game and next season. Remember,
Yes.
Jack Miles is switching from the Alpine/McLaren Academy to the Ferrari Academy, so he will not be team principal. Someone within that academy, I think they know who they are. I'm not going to say it on here. You know who it is, and I think everyone
I do know
can
who
take
it
a
is.
look themselves. Everyone can take a look themselves and kind of see, oh, that's who it is. So yeah, I'll wait till it's announced to kind of say, fully say it.
Well,
I don't want to reveal the surprise,
I will
but
spoil
it's a
one little thing. It is
very
not
terrible kept
me.
secret.
It's
Correct.
not me.
Look at
I
the
will say that. I'm being retained
Look at the gap
as
at the top.
Kodo.
If yeah, correct. If I may intervene, look at the gap at the top. Gecko just did another lap. Jack did one. We're separated in the top 3 by just 100th. And I quickly want to go over a few more things so we can get right to the session because we're almost halfway through it. Not a lot of people know who the assistant is, but some people, very few people, do know who the assistant is. So the academy assistant within that academy will move up to the team principal role. Congrats to, I wonder who that is. Kind of not making it obvious because I want everyone to do their searching. But yeah, with that being said, congratulations
Speaking of
to Knights.
academy, speaking of
I was just
academy
gonna cut in on
assistant. Yeah, sorry. Speaking of academy
good.
assistant, that little mistake that Tadpole did, that was kind of silly on him. And he's the academy assistant of Ferrari Academy, so he inadvertently just sabotaged 2 of his teams.
So, 2 things I was going to mention. Congrats to not KVS, Knights, who got the full-time Haas spot for the rest of the season. He was a part of that trade with JTK a few weeks back. We mentioned the potential point system change. We mentioned the potential academy change and the F125 McLaren/Alpine Academy team principal role. I think Red Fire's trying to get Jack Miles maybe a grid penalty here or just sitting behind him trying to get the toe for next lap. But yeah, either way, I'll switch to someone doing a lap while I say this. Tier 3 winner, Devin, could potentially be the 2nd place finisher once again. Congrats to them. Speaking of Tier 3, Alex Norris said tonight as Gecko and TB both think they're safe. Alex Norris said ahead of tonight, he's actually more nervous for this race than he was the Tier 3 finale. And remember, he was in a championship battle during then. Alex Norris having big shoes to fill tonight in that Ferrari. Tier 2 winner yesterday, that was Night Owl for Ferrari. Congrats to him. 2 great races, 2 great qualifying sessions as well. The qualifying session yesterday, Titan, we had the top 2, George and Mintoki, split by 0.000. That's how close our 1 and 2 places were at the end of qualifying. Right now, our top 2 in Q1 is separated by 1,000. Ding is improving in the first sector. We're right on board with him. Well, I just mentioned one other thing. Cam had his reserve contract extended. He's not done... I think he's only done 1 race this game, maybe. But either way, Cam... We'll see more of him on next game, pending what that's like. But yeah, a lot of things to talk about for next game and the rest of the season. Regardless, I think the focus should be put to this remaining part of Q1 with 7 minutes to go. Now less. 19 still in this session. We're going to lose 1 automatically. That is still in it. That is Maxwell. But Ding is improving. And it was around this section, you remember it last season, Titan. Him and TB collided. That was actually the last time TB finished outside the points in RPL. He has been 23 races straight in the points.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a small little correction for you. It is brought up by SV. Haas is not going to Toyota engines. They're staying with Ferrari engines. It's the Toyota thing is actually their primary sponsor because they're getting Toyota Gazoo. That's what it is. But I also just realized something in regards to cars and all that stuff. I did realize this, and I'm thinking way ahead of myself here.
Yeah.
When F126, unless they add 2 more spots to allow us for commentary, one team's probably not going to be participating in Season 15 and Season 16 because we have 11 teams for 2026.
I think it was, 2016 that had 2 spectators and 22 drivers in the lobby? Something like that? I'm not sure, but...
Well, it's EA
like
and
that.
Cody, so maybe they'll be like, we have brain feed, we didn't know, so we'll just make it 20 and all that crap.
Tough to predict,
22
regardless.
and no spectators.
Yeah. Well, it was this race, actually, 2 seasons prior, that Skither was not in the Ferrari yet, but he was in the McLaren, and he won this race after crashing in Q2. Right now, back in the Ferrari, and it was season 9 here in this race that he went toe-to-toe with TB, came to collision, and I believe he still won this race. Yes, he did. He extended the gap after that, but it was a big DRS train fight from what, like lap 17 on a safety car restart all the way to lap 21. But Skither got the victory, and look at Cookie repaying the favor. Skither towed Cookie beforehand, and Cookie now repaying the favor to the Ferrari driver. Both Americans from Florida giving each other the assist, and Skither goes 4th fastest because of it. So Cookie and Skither, ex-teammates, good friends, really helping each other out, coming to the assist. Both Alpines have cracked the top 10, and that's going to mean someone is going to have to miss out in this next round of qualifying if they're not careful. Cookie thinks he's safe, and in his return to racing, he is. Aston Martin won this race last season with Jack Miles. Goatley goes 16th. He is not in. Knights, his academy teammate, is on the cusp. We now switch to Cryptic, who I feel like it has to be said, Titan, it feels like he's flirting with returning to the top step of the podium. Last week, it didn't seem like it was the same as usual for him, but Hungary, him and Ding both finished 4th and 5th. Spa, he was on the podium for the first time in a few seasons. Is the Mercedes maybe better around here? I doubt it. The straight line speed is where he's going to be lacking in. But if Cryptic can stay in the fight, I really think if this race ends up the way it was last season, he has a really big chance here tonight.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. That Mercedes has been showing some glimmers of hope so far on this game cycle. I mean, we've seen them win at least a couple of times, even at tracks where they think it's not really possible that they can get it done. But they are resilient. That's what Mercedes is like. I mean, heck, the top side of that Mercedes Academy is a resilient group. Altogether, not gonna lie. I mean, with some of the Academy drivers themselves, you have guys like Florian, Cryptic, Ding. They are absolutely resilient. I mean, Ding is the OG of resilience, being here since the initial season. He's literally like the RPL grandpa of racing in RPL for Tier 1, truth be told, no offense, Ding.
Yeah.
But yeah, these
Owen
Mercedes guys, yep, Owen as well. These guys are very resilient. They have the experience, and I think they will keep that resilience and persistence going forward.
So with Cryptic's lap, that bumps Knights into the bottom 4. Technically bottom 5, just Tadpole's already chosen to retire before Maxwell. Either way, of a toe, but again, just lagging right here. Not really doing anything we'd expect, but again, lots of lap time to go, and also less than 2 minutes to go in this session. We also have Cryptic, who was on a lap, now on an in-lap. Ding retiring, believing he's safe. Alex Norris back out there. He might be in trouble. 13th place for the Ferrari man. He did his lap, I believe, on mediums. I'm just going to double check. He did, so that's why he's back there. We'll take you off the tires. Skither thinks he's safe as well, and so do others. What has happened here? Why has he lagged out? Why is the connection so bad today? I swear it's not my internet. I was fine yesterday. I'm just going to turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone if that's an issue. Regardless, Knights heading to the sector split in a few moments' time, jumping over that curb. You got to be careful at turn 14 or 15, I think that is. And he is finding time. Knights might get out of the bottom 5 here. But where is he going to be now becomes the question. The S section to go, and then the straights. A little wide there. What's it going to be like for Knights? He's the first one to complete a lap of our drivers on track.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just lost connection. I just lost you when you were mid-talk. I look at the party, it says you disconnected as Knights goes up to P12. Very solid stuff for his end. Looks like Blue Gandhi
Egg is towing Danny again. Egg is towing Danny again. This is the second week in a row. Egg not retiring with the other drivers who are safe, but giving his teammate Slipstream. Look at this. Ultimate team game right here. Sorry to cut in, but this is super vital because Danny and Penguin are fighting for it. Egg might have clipped the wall, but what does that matter when you have Danny you're towing along? Danny up only just. Penguin needs to find time as well. He just started his lap. We'll get to him at the very end of the session.
Yeah, we've seen this last week in Monza with Ed giving a helpful hand to Danny, and it paid off for him to get himself into Q2. I wasn't sure if it was I can't remember if he did it for Q3 as well, but here comes Danny across the line. He goes to P13. That puts Torn Penguin down, who, by the way, is only up by 100th after Sector 1.
Goatley is out. Goatley did a lap time and could not find time. Alex Norris is going to find time. Now he'll leapfrog to the top of the board. Alex Norris, who was an ex-Tier 3 driver, is currently on top in Q1. I know it's only Q1, but that's unbelievable stuff. Blue Goggy is up by a second and could be dispatching Penguin and Red Fire. Because of Alex Norris's lap, Red Fire is on the cusp now. What's he going to do in the sector split now becomes the question. Torn Penguin, is he finding time? He's responding by going 2/10 quicker, but might need to find time. Red Fire not gaining time, so he might be knocked out compared to Danny getting knocked out from Red Fire and Penguin. Goggy finds time, but is not through into Q2, unlike last season. Here comes Danny, Penguin. Will he knock out Danny with Red Fire? Penguin is in. Red Fire is out. Red Fire missed out and just edges out his teammate by little under 4/10. Both Williams are out. Both Saubers are out. And Maxwell G, who had the qualifying ban, is out of Q1 as well. That's the 5 we eliminate. But both V-Carbs, who have the experience as teammates before, have the experience pay off once again. Alex Norris quickest. What a storyline that is.
Yeah, that was really unexpected to see Alex Norris dip into the 37s. I mean, this is a guy that was in tier 3, is currently in tier 2, but I think with these times
he's tier 1 full-time Titan.
Oh,
he got
tier
kicked
1
out of tier 2
now.
for being too fast.
Okay.
Yeah, he got kicked out of tier 2 for being too fast after Brazil. He
Okay.
gave Haas their first and only pole.
All right, good to know. I did not see that. So thank you for reminding me of that information. But yeah, but you still got to look at TB, Gecko, and Jack being only separated by 9,000ths of a second. That is just incredible. But tough luck for the Williams pair of Red Fire and Goggy. Goatley is out as well, and then Tadpole and Maxwell both out. I mean, Maxwell would have had a qualifying ban anyways, but now who knows if he's going to have another one next week, courtesy of his Academy Assistant screw up.
Yeah. Both Alpines got in. Aston Martin squeaked their way through. Both V-Carps did as well, and another Haas as well. What I did notice with Red Fire and Goggy is both them teammates seem to always find each other in the position area or the gaps being close. Last week, Goggy out-qualified Red Fire marginally. This week, Red Fire just smacked almost 4/10 on him. Yeah, Alex Norris got that one pole for Haas in Brazil, and he was getting good finishes in Tier 2. Some of it was luck, some of it was not, but he had 2 podiums in Tier 2 last season. And George, the tier coordinator, and others, including Jack High Safety Car, said, no more Tier 2 for you. You're Tier 1 full-time. And that also happened after he did the Tier 1 race, I believe, at the halfway point at Spa or Hungary, the race before, and he got a points finish in both. He got P10 in the Haas and the Sauber. So, you know, a lot of drivers did question, including Tier 3 drivers like SV. I think Fusion might have had something to say about it. Netsky maybe. Timbed definitely did. Those drivers were saying, how did Alex Norris ever get allowed in Tier 3? Remember, it was this race back in Tier 3 in the previous season that it was questioned, will he be kicked out of the tier? He was on pole consistently at the start of the season. He had a lot of qualifying pace, no race pace. He obviously found that at the end of the season. Almost won the championship, lost it by single-digit numbers. But yeah, Alex Norris, take the Alpines out of the conversation, I have to say. He's the impressor from Q1 on top in that Ferrari.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And like I said, when you just said about Alex Norris getting Haas a pole at Brazil, basically in a way, Alex Norris did a K-Mag. That's what he did there, putting it on the pole. I mean, literally, not gonna lie, in real life, that was probably the biggest shock pole I've And for Q2 is going to be Jack.
Yeah. Well, Jack will be the first one to start a lap. We'll ride on board with the Welshman, and we'll give you a lap around this circuit in a few moments' time. I don't know what's going on with my connection today. I don't know if it's mine or what it is, but it does not seem fun at all right now, because I did hear you cut out twice during that, and again, I don't know if it's me or not, but everything was fine for me as well in Tier 3 up until the lobby, which usually streaming I'm fine with a lot better, but...
I was gonna say maybe it's the certain connections being affected.
The
I mean,
wind has
think
been
about
bad here recently, though.
it could be that, but also, well, I mean, maybe Xbox and PCs following the same technical problem. Well, hopefully not the same as bad technical problems that Sony's got. You heard about that?
Oh, gosh.
Sony's got a freaking worldwide outage. Nasty.
Yeah. Well, Jack Miles and George have started laps. We'll go on board with them. Turn 1, Turn 2, Turn 3, all 90-degree corners. And I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about that on our race start later on. Turn 4 approaching. And then Turn 5, the famous corner where Leo Lund sent one, and it did not work last season in this race. And he almost collected Jack Miles and Cookie in his melee right here. 34.6 George, 34.8. So not much separating both Welshmen as they complete the sector. And you know this is a trouble spot, Titan, right here. You can't turn in too early. You can easily invalidate. It's probably the only place you can invalidate or hit the wall. And then the castle section, notorious for incidents. It was the Ferrari of TS Korsman last season who crashed out of the race from the lead in that section. Caused a safety car. And through this section, it was DRS tactics with Jack and Cookie deciding the finish.
Yeah, the castle is super notorious in regards to a lot of crashes and wild moments. I mean, heck, recently, there wasn't a stream for it. I believe there was an F2. I think it was an F2 or it. Yes, it wasn't. It was an F2. There was actually a battle where two cars were side by side in the castle, and they did not crash.
Jeez. Jack Miles, fastest. A Miles Masterclass to start Q2, even though he's the only one besides George to cross the line. Knights right behind George. Still was a good lap, though. I ran on board with most of it. TB 36.7 in the first sector. I think that's slightly slower than what Jack did. We're watching Ding cross the line now. We're watching others as well join in. Egg will cross very soon. Alex Norris is fastest in Q2 once again. So Q1 maybe a fluke. Or, sorry, maybe not a fluke. Depends on if he's running used or new tires. Egg is the next one approaching the line. What's it going to be from... Well, if you see his flag, the home driver, as he would love me to say. Fastest. A little bit of home luck by putting that flag as the same circuit as every race weekend. Andrea, fourth fastest. Not bad there in the Alpine. The Italian got points in his home race once again. He's actually undefeated in terms of points at his home race this game cycle for at least Italy, or Monza, excuse me, I should say, of the Italian races. He got points in Season 11, P4, and P9 last week. Penguin will go 7th fastest. And speaking of last week, our top 3 ended up being after penalties. TB, Jack, and Egg. Leo Lund was penalized in the end. TB peels off, and we have 10 who've got times in because of the first runs.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a couple of these guys, they were just getting a little feel for the run as they were driving around, and then they went back to the pits. Just had to basically do a little extra fine-tuning of their setup if they needed to. So that's why individuals like Gecko, Skither, and TB have gone back to the pits. But everyone is currently, other than that, we have 10 getting the track done, their laps in. Egg being the fastest, as you mentioned. And yeah, he does it every week. He always changes his flag to whatever track we're going to be at. I know one thing, if he does it for Coda and later on, I believe Vegas is on for later on this season.
Yeah.
But if he does switch and puts the American flag on, then I'm wondering if I have the necessary need to call him Richard Hammond for that.
Speaking of Egg, I believe he actually has started a brand new lap. He recharged his battery save some fuel as well, to go over once again, and he smacks the wall coming out of turn 2. That's something you got to be careful about. Easily can do it in time trial. You may get an invalidation for colliding with the wall, but here you don't. But you also have the price to pay for wing damage. TV is lagged out of the session. He'll need an invite back.
I got him.
That'll be on PC, by the way, compared to usually inviting him on Xbox. But Egg is finding time, a 10th up on this lap. So he decided he wanted to go again. Maybe didn't feel like that first lap was good enough, but yeah, we're going to ride on board with the quote-unquote
he got
driver.
kicked offline.
Oh, he went wide, and Egg almost hit the wall there, but he's still going, and he's now backed off. He knew that mistake was costly, and it really was. I almost hit Leon doing that in a Tier 3 race here. I had to be very, very careful. But he missed the corner, Egg did. We'll switch to JTK, who is going through the first sector now. Tier 2 race yesterday. Another podium to this man's name. You know, I know he's changed to no line. It may not be the same. This circuit's very tough with no line. But he still is finding that pace he used to have once and for all. And one thing to mention, speaking of pace, Leo Lund's not here tonight, Titan. How do you think that changes the race for these drivers who are so used to racing with Leo Lund, having to maybe take extra precaution?
I mean, some of these drivers can take extra precautions, but I mean, with some of the other drivers that are involved, like those that are involved in the championship hunts, so like the McLarens of Jack and TB, they can start to pull away from, pull an even bigger gap to Leo, away from Leo, to make it even trickier for him to try to reel those points in. And then guys like Skither, he can try to claw in some points that
I've lagged out. Why have I lagged out? What the heck? What the heck? I might restart the stream at the end of Q2 to figure this out. I don't know why this keeps happening. Yeah, thank you. My stream usually is fine. I don't get it. I don't really understand why that is. What happened? That's 5 tenths quicker than Egg, isn't it? Impressive. Yeah, TB, you're not the only one struggling. My apologies for having these issues. I'm gonna get it figured out at the end of Q2 regardless.
I just forgot I had to hit the include
why this
the
keeps
click
happening?
thing for audio. Forgot about that.
That's okay. I don't know why this keeps happening. Again, my stream never has this happen. I might have it happen while I'm racing, but not while I'm streaming, so... Yeah, almost 4 tenths quicker right there, Gecko's lap. But yeah, as we were saying, I think the thing with McLaren that they have to think about tonight, as much as they want to put up the aggression level, because Leo Lund is not here, and they probably can, closer field will maybe be in store, but one thing I do think of is that no matter what happens, the goal has to be for McLaren, score points, extend on Leo Lund. You never know what could happen at the end of the season. Maybe they could throw Gecko or Egg out of the Red Bull. Maybe they don't show up to a few races. Whatever happens, it could allow Leo Lund to be in a Red Bull for certain races. So with that being said, it's something you have to consider here, that Leo Lund could get a chance in a better car, and we saw he won Zandvoort. So yeah, Leo Lund, he just has to stop the incidents, obviously, as the race bans. So again, hopefully he does get that figured out. George Williams currently rides on the bubble, and he's trying to go for more. 4 minutes remain. And this circuit's tough, too. We've had castle section incidences in the past, Titan.
Absolutely.
Remember Season 3, I believe, here. F2 had a famous one happen. You know, if we're going to see anything happen, it's going to come with side-by-side action or someone messing up the castle section as Ding leapfrogs himself up to third.
Yeah, Ding up to third. Very impressive on his part there. We have a couple of guys getting their... about to start some laps out as we speak here. I got TV just starting his time lap now as he goes into turn number 1 right now. Cryptic is currently just before getting himself into the castle. You're on George. I see that. He's heading towards Sector 3 right now, and I believe that is Jack ahead. I think Jack's going to give him a hand here, possibly. George up by 0.8 of a second here. Now, George and Jack, they are working together. In regard, they are in the same academy, McLaren Academy. Even though George is in Aston, this tow is going to help George out very good here as Jack bails off. And George, second fastest with a 37.7. Very phenomenal.
Wowzers. TB, Sector 1 complete. Sector 2, we're on board with him through there. A little wiggle wobble there at the end of the castle section. You got to be very careful going out wide there. You don't have a curb any longer, but track limits do get enforced very heavily there by the F124 game. George being second fastest means it could be the first time he's in the top 3 if he translates that in Q3. Remember, he's not got a top 3 in qualifying or race in RPL Tier 1. 14-1 for TB as he's completing the sector. And I just shut the Wi-Fi off on my mom's phone, so I'm just going to hope that this does get better. If it doesn't, then, you know, again, I'll restart the stream between qualifying sessions. But TB crossed the line with deployment used, might run out of improving much. Yeah, 10th fastest. Look at what deployment used did to him. He might be out again. Remember, last week he was out when it came to qualifying in the second round because of not getting in the times. And Cryptic might jump him. Cryptic almost smacked the wall, but he's all okay there in the castle section.
Yeah, I mean, in the first sector, comparing Gecko to TB, TB was almost 0.4 behind Gecko in the first sector.
Jeez. We've got Cryptic completing the sector now. Remember, TB did a 14-1, so that's what we're comparing to. 13-4 from Cryptic, so Cryptic is going to knock out TB. Does TB have enough fuel to go again? He does not, it looks like. He is blinking in the red, so TB is at risk of being out for a second straight week. We have drivers coming out back on track to save their hopes of what could be getting into Q3 or not being in. Regardless, Cryptic's our next one, crossing now, and Cryptic knocks out TB. TB is gonna probably be out of qualifying here. By the looks of things, not enough fuel to do another run. Cookie goes third fastest. That's both Aston Martins, second and third. We have a car crossing next. We have Alex Norris up by 0.4. He was fastest in Q1. He was fastest to start Q2. Then everything cycled out. He got jumped, and he'll jump up to second place on our board. So Alex Norris is still on the pace. We have others to come. JTK will get to the line in time. Jack may be at risk, but he will get there. Knights is up by 1/10 right now. Is it enough now becomes the question. Andrea jumps Skither. Skither's on the cusp. Knights is up 0.4, and Knights could even jump TB, who's out of qualifying. TB for a second straight week is out in qualifying, and this comes after having 2 poles so far this season after a drought where he didn't have a pole in RPL. Knights will cross now, and will he jump TB with it now is the question. Knights coming across the line, and he responds by doing so. TB has been out qualified by a Haas driver.
Ay.
Is getting a tow from Egg, I believe that is. Is Danny finding time? We'll switch back to the tow momentarily. Danny could get through if he does have enough. And look at that, 7/10 right there. May not be enough, but he could jump Knights and TB both. Penguin.
Skither's not improving.
In the slipstream of TB, is it enough to beat Skither? No, it's not. So since you said Skither's not improving, Danny might get him, but only just. Skither getting a little tow from, Danny getting a little tow from Skither. Danny crosses, and Danny cannot get Skither. So as you were saying, Skither not finding time might have just been saved by others. 13-2. Remember, that's closer to what Cryptic did earlier. Can he put both Alpines into Q3 now is the question. Jack Miles out on track doing a lap as well to try and save himself. We have both the carbs out.
Half a second up in Sector 2 on Skither.
Wowee. Skither, in or out? What's it going to be? Is it going to be a repeat of Season 10? It's a repeat of Season 10.
God.
Skither out of qualifying. This time, not due to a crash Both Alpines are into Q3. Unbelievable. Risk and reward.
Look at Andrea is through in P10, beating Skither by a millisecond. 1,000th of a second. Skither misses out on Q3. So we had two major upsets. We have Skither in Ferrari out in P11, but TB, unfortunately, the slowest in Q2.
Alpine get through with the Dutchman and the Italian, and they're going to have a double Q3 appearance for the first time since Monza in Season 10. 39 races ago. Although Leo Lund's not here tonight and would be the surprise, well, not surprise, but different type of car getting through compared to our top 5 cars, this time, both Alpines do what V-Carb would have done. Speaking of V-Carb, you got Danny and Penguin, both teammates in that bottom 5. We're also relegating Knights. We're relegating his academy teammate Skither. That's the big shock. TB, maybe a bigger shock. He's 15th and out of it. So, goodbye to 5 drivers, 2 of them being big upsets. And Q3 ahead of us now, which could be insanity. Gecko fastest, Alex second, George third. I think we're fine now in terms of stable connection, so I'm just going to stay here. I can hear you a lot better.
Oh, yes.
I'm not going to restart, but like I said, I turned the Wi-Fi off of my phone, turned the Wi-Fi off of my mom's phone, and if I have to, if I don't need to see chat, I'll make sure to turn off the Wi-Fi on the computer if it does happen again. Q3 ahead of us. Chat and commentators, make sure you put your predictions in the Twitch chat for what could be the top 3 or top 5. We won't go for poll time because we don't, unless you want to, but we don't really have anything to compare to because this was a wet qualifying session last season. And remember, Titan, previous winners of this race actually have come from outside the top 10. Jack Miles did it last season. I believe that was the first race won from 11th place on the grid. He was out of qualifying on the Aston Martin. In Q2. Didn't make Q3. Skither's 11th, and he won this race outside the top 10, crashing in Q2 before the wet running came in Q3 in Season 10. So it would not be a surprise to see Skither or TB, who are not in this session, have a big chance to be in contention for the victory. But that's not the focus now. The focus is for pole. George could take his first. Alex could take his first. Andrea could take his first. JTK's never had a pole. Egg, Ding, Jack, kind of can say Cookie, and Cryptic can all end long droughts. Red Bull can have their 100th pole. They have both cars competing. And the Alpine Academy have 3 cars in this session, but not the 3 you would think. What do you want to look for in your lap, Titan? That's one thing I wonder. You gotta find improvements, no doubt about it. But what do you want to find improvements on? Do you think there's drivers struggling exiting the castle section on traction? I think that's a big thing to think about tonight. You're not going to be thinking about track limits a lot, unless you're Ding maybe. But you're going to be thinking about putting on the power. And some drivers have had trouble with that, and I noticed that's where the mistakes are coming.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's the line and your approach for specific corners. That is where it is absolutely crucial. But also, if you have the right person in the right spot, the toe is absolutely insane. I mean, we saw it with Jack giving it to George, and that's why George was, well, temporarily second place until he got dethroned and bumped down to P3. So yeah, the toe is just super incredible at this type of track. So it'll be quite interesting to see. I mean, we do see a couple of pairs here. We have Alex Norris and Cookie in tow with each other. We have Ding and Alex Norris and George are a pair together, while Ding or Cryptic and Cookie are going to be a pair. We have the Red Bulls pairing up, and I think, unless they get a little closer, maybe the Alpines may stand together.
We're going to run on board with Jack Miles, who's not had a pole since Season 8 Abu Dhabi, 34.5. His quest for pole starts now. 78 races since that moment. And like I said, putting down the power. That's tough exiting that corner. It's also a bit tough here at times. You're just so slow on this circuit in terms of the braking zones. I mean, we raced at Qatar in Tier 3, and also we raced at Japan in Tier 2 yesterday. It's not the same thing compared to Baku in terms of your braking zones and putting on the power. Traction zones here will be tough. Regardless, we're going to approach the ending of Sector 2 and see what the drivers are doing. And no surprise, Titan, that we see the queue forming like that. We've seen it happen racing time and time again. It happens again. 13-7 from Jack. 13-4 from Alex, and 14-1 from George. So right now, Jack Miles on course to set the benchmark and could be taking over pole by Alex Norris there when everything all settles out. We're going to find out what happens. Jack Miles applies the overtake, then shuts it back to hot lap. Crossing the line now is the Welshman. He'll be the first one. Deployment used. 38-1. Alex Norris betters that. 37-8 provisional pole. George, Cryptic, Cookie, second fastest. We have more to come. That's Cryptic and Ding both slotting times in for Mercedes. But Red Bull are on course to potentially have a 100th Tier 1 pole tonight. Can Egg steal that from Alex Norris, the top spot? No, but that is a close margin between Alex, Cookie, and Egg, our top 3 drivers, and JTK is doing a 13-5 in the middle sector. Alex's sectors, 34-5 from JTK, 38-9. So JTK is on course to potentially get Alpine on pole, if not pole, a top 4 spot, which would be incredible. Alex Norris currently would be on his first pole with Cookie on the front row once again. Usual sights from Cookie, but not usual sights from Alpine. While they take 6th place, they lost it all on the straight line with JTK and in the last sector. Andrea went out of bounds. He invalidated. Gecko came back to the pits. But on our first run, whether it's used or new sets, Alex Norris is on quest to take his first pole in Tier 1 in his first top chance in RPL Tier 1. Top car time for Alex Norris. Pole time right now.
Yeah. And you know what's really wild? Just taking a look at the sector splits between GTK and Alex Norris. Sector 1, the difference, 23 thousandths of a second in favor of Alex Norris. And in Sector 2, 43 thousandths of a second. So after the Sector 2 split, JDK was 66 thousandths behind Alex Norris. But then Sector 3 was where it really all fell apart for JTK. The difference was half a second between them. And Andreas crashed in the castle.
Ow. We have our first retirement due to crashes in qualifying, and Andrea has become the first victim of someone having a scruffy moment in the castle section. Andrea out. So Alpine trying to get their second pole. I mean, obviously unrealistic, but they really had a good chance with JTK's first and second sector. But they're going to have to do it with one car. JTK is going to have to take the toe off Jack. Yeah, 5.5 minutes to go. That is upsetting for Andrea, but good thing he made it through. And speaking of not making it through, one thing to note, TB thought he did not select new tires. That's why he thinks he's out of qualifying.
Oh my god. So since I mentioned about with PlayStation, still current with the issues on PlayStation, I just took a look. Apparently, well, even though this was like a few hours ago, this was only like 4 hours ago. The PlayStation Network is still down and has been down for 14 hours. Jesus Christ! I wonder if it's still active or not. I'll have to take a look, see if it's still there.
And we do have some drivers on PlayStation and RPL, so let us know if you are on PlayStation. Leo Lund predicts poll time in the Twitch chat. He thinks it will be a 37.198. Our poll time right now is a 37.8, so not even close. Leo, are you trying to predict what you would do as poll? Is my question now. Yeah, Tim Betts says it was still down like an hour ago, so there you go.
Yeah, still says still down after 18 hours, and they still don't know why.
Yikes. I will say in terms of the predictions, I mean, some guys did guess Alex pole, but Cookie on the front row, I mean, regardless of the car he's in, this should not be a surprise. If you remember early on the season when he was in the Ferrari, He had a lot of front row starts. No matter if it was Leo Lundy was second to or Gecko in Australia. Cookie was always on the front row in that Ferrari. He's on the front row in the Aston Martin, the team that won this race last season. And he also finished second to an Aston Martin, so that'll haunt him even more.
Oh, yeah, this is quite interesting, not gonna lie here, because, I mean, you have a bit of unconventional measures in regards to people out and about on this track here, because you got Alex Norris on the top here, you have Cookie in second. It's just, I mean, you're probably the stats nerd than I am. I don't even know when the last time Aston, or, well, in their course of their history, I don't remember the last time they ever got a front row start in Tier 1. Oh, wait.
I hate to say it, Titan.
Duh, it's Leo. Duh, it's the Leo
Hate to say it, but, you know.
It's the Leo one.
What I remember is them getting a pole this season.
Yeah, I know, sorry.
That's what I remember.
Sorry, I keep forgetting about with that.
It was this circuit you said, that's what I remember, about 4 times in a row. So, you know, it is okay. Maybe Baku will haunt you just like it haunts Cookie, who finished second in this race a season ago. Just one thing I want to mention before we go to poll. If you didn't give us predictions in the chat, please do so now. Egg will be our first car to cross. We'll ride on board with him and talk about him flying around this circuit. But I just want to mention, with that being said, as we have yellow flags on the track, I decided to put on green because Aston won this race last season, so I'm not sure if that will come to bite them later on or if that's a sign of good luck now, but we did see Cookie and George up there in Q2, and Cookie's on the front row right now, so we'll see who finds improvements. Egg is our first one, running on board with him at turn 1. That wall is super close there at turn 1. You can say it is anywhere, but turn 1 especially when a race side by side. Egg locks the rears there, trying to find time. He hits the turn 2 wall, just slightly nudging it, but down the turn 2 to turn 3 straight, a dose of DRS for the British driver, Azerbaijan driver for tonight. Turn 3, we have that wall that sticks out there, and Gecko DNF from on lap 1 in this race last season. Turn 4, rear locking again, trying to find time is the driver in the Red Bull, trying to give them their 100th pole, and only improving just 12 milliseconds. He's got traffic he's approaching. That would be his teammate Gecko, I believe, and the Alpine of JTK. This section is where Egg almost blew it up here in Q2 earlier on. But Egg does the castle section just fine. Locks up the front right just a little bit. But this section is squeaky clean. Keeps it within track limits. He has a lot of ERS to use when he hits the line. Now you gotta wonder, is he finding time in the second sector? And if he isn't, how much of that ERS do you put on use coming to the line? He's got this section and then one more braking zone to go. It's the sector split. ERS slowly on use. He is
Gecko ahead.
finding time. 3/10, and he will get a tow. This will be vital for what could be Red Bull's 100th Tier 1 pole. It would be Egg's first since Season 5 Portugal, his only pole, and that came 140 races ago.
Let's see what Eggs, guys. He's coming down, flying across that line, getting a hot lap over. 2:13 as he comes across the line. 37.2.
God.
Good God
Egg
Almighty.
Is gonna take pole as of right now. We have more to come. Ding jumping up to 4th. We have a Ferrari of Alex Norris who will get to the line in time, and that means he'll be the last one to get a time in. It'll be all up to him if we have anyone responding to Egg, pretty much. In that middle sector, we have Cryptic on a timed lap. Ding improved by 4.5 tenths, but that was not enough to jump ahead of Cookie or Alex. He did get Jack, though. Currently looking out on track, that's Cryptic 4 tenths up, Jack 3 tenths up only in the first sector, and he's got a queue of cars with him. Both Astons almost smacked the wall. The first one did. Whether that's Cookie or George now is the question, but Cryptic on the run up to the line, 50% on use. He can use that overtake button. He's going to wait to the very last moment. DRS applied. Cryptic trying to look for a pole for the first time since Season 9 Japan. He misses out. He's 3rd place, splitting Alex and Cookie. Jack in the middle sector is finding 4 tenths. He could be on the front row, but Egg's pole lap was monstrous. It could be a second. It could be Red Bull's 100th. What do the other drivers have in store? The Astons are getting a mega tow there from Jack.
Yeah, Cookie benefiting with 3 tenths. George behind with 5 tenths. Here they come across the line here. Is going to be Jack first. He will be in 3rd as George jumps in the second.
to the front row. Gecko didn't have a time on the board at all during this session. ERS unused late on the lap to the line. Gecko misses out barely. 8 milliseconds. Alex Norris might be the only one to deny Red Bull of a front row lockout or their 100th pole in Tier 1. Regardless, what a freaking effort from Aston Martin, 3rd and 5th, and George 3rd. Alex Norris, in his first stint with Ferrari in Tier 1, is 3rd. That's a really good qualifying effort. But at Baku, Egg and Gecko are the front row, and it's the 100th pole in RPL Tier 1 for Red Bull Racing. And that right there is an Oracle-worthy performance. 8 milliseconds, Egg ahead of Gecko, and Egg snaps a 140 race drought. It's his 2nd pole.
Yeah, very, very stellar
Unreal
stuff from the Red Bull pairing. They did very impressive. Egg, very impressive in his time. And yeah, literally 8 milliseconds separating those two Red Bulls. Very nice stuff there. And then give credit to Alex Norris as well. 900ths in P3 in the Ferrari. The lone Ferrari Academy car. He had literally no help, and he was able to be in P3. Very solid stuff for him. And then there's a bit of a gap for the rest of the field after that.
There's your results, folks. Did you get your predictions right? Did you not? Egg Gecko 1-2 for Red Bull. Alex Norris P3. Brilliant effort there. George 4th, his best qualifying equaled. Jack 5th, Cookie down in 6th there. He lost a little bit at the end. So did the Mercedes pair. They couldn't find enough. We're going to our race start, and we've had chaos happen here time and time again. Dry race, apparently. Just going to double check. But Titan, I must ask you beforehand, what are we expecting on the start? We have 2 90-degree left-hand turns to start, actually 3 of them, to start this race. Then you get to the middle sector where it becomes tricky to overtake. What are you expecting on our race start here in Baku?
I mean, we'll be seeing some of these guys tiptoeing around as they go through turns 1 and 2. We may see some ambitious attacks going into turn 3, so we may see possibly a collision or two in regards into the turn 3. We could see a car maybe overshooting and going into the runoff section. But I think maybe after we get to like turn 4, turn 5, it'll mellow out and things will be its typical way, and then we'll have our fights when DRS activates on the next lap.
Yeah, I expect this to be a crazy DRS stream. We got less than 30 seconds now. Medium hard expected. Hard medium. It's a very simple one stop, but we could see 2 stops due to the safety cars. 15 seconds. Any crashes, we think, on lap 1? Like last season? Gecko maybe again?
It's possible. It's possible for a crash, but I see someone not going on the tire that they're thinking.
5 seconds. Now, Season 12, Round 12, ahead of us in Baku. It'll be chaotic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights ahead of the drivers. And it is pedal to the metal. It is go, go, go. Egg off the line, covering off his teammate. Gecko trying to cover off Alex Norris. 2nd place is contested there. Side by side, the Aston and the McLaren make contact. 3 wide further back for a little bit. Cars ghosting because of the contact model. But now, Cookie and Jack clash. Cookie slammed Jack in the wall, trying to shut the door, but the door could not be shut there at turn 2. You got Goatley, Redfire, and Tadpole all squawking around and in trouble there. But that's Jack, Cryptic, Ding, losing places, and Jack has to back out there on JTK, his Academy teammate, who has jumped him already. Further on back, we have an Alpine sliding into the corner. That's Andrea, who's been passed by Skither, who got the great start after the poor qualifying. TB's up 2 places, and further behind him, he's got Knights and Danny challenging side by side. Contact made there, a little bit of touching, but a chaotic start with everybody still in the race. It's just Goatley and Redfire who've lost a ton of time and places. No, Joy, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, we didn't go side by side there, but it was Knight smacking the wall.
That's a nasty hit by Knight, but he's still going, but he's got a decent amount of damage on that car. That is not fun for him, especially on lap 1. We have a long race ahead of us. But just before then, TB did a very advantageous dive bomb on Danny in turn 6. And it worked to perfection and put him up into P13. So he's got
Hold
a little
on
ways
for
to
the
go.
lead, for the lead. The Red Bulls are going at it, and they're swapping already. It's not Egg the pole sitter who will lead lap 1. It's Gecko.
And just a smidge further back, Jack and JTK switch over. So this is going to be interesting to see how these team orders are going to be faring about for these guys here. Now, meanwhile, as we go into the first lap, bear in mind, we have a 5-car DRS train. Jack is not in it as of yet. Got a little tap of the wall, but he's trying to catch back up here. And I'm just taking a look at the tires that everyone is on. I see George is on the soft tires.
Is he thinking soft hard? That'd be super brave and bold from
Owen
the
did
Welshman,
do that
but he
last
jumped Cookie
season.
on the start. Yeah, there you go. Regardless, we have hard tires for TB, hard tires for Maxwell, hard tires for Red Fire. Red Fire lost the most places on the start. He had trouble with a Sauber there in the opening few corners. TB gained places, Skither gained places. I mean, most drivers gained either 1 or 2 anyway. We've shown you that moments ago, and that's Tadpole incident, broken front wing, VSC deployed from it, and he's got rear wing damage for just reversing straight into the wall. So Tadpole's day has gone from bad to worse, and he spun around once again, and he's almost stuck on the curb. This is a nightmare for the Kick Sauber, well, team as a whole. Red Fire and Goatly collide, and now Tadpole with a car needing to be repaired.
Yeah, I think Tadpole just had a very hard day, not gonna lie. It's not what he wanted to have happen. He busted the wing and then reversed too hard and clocked the rear wing just a little bit. So I hate to say it, but I think Tadpole is going to be our first retirement of this event.
Hope not.
And
Still a long race.
yeah. But I mean,
Might have
once you
damage
get
on the rear wing.
yeah, I was gonna say once you get rear wing damage, your race is pretty much dead. Is pretty much dead in the water.
Just want to note 2 things. Jack bogged down at the start. He did get some places back, but Egg has underfueled. You see him blinking in the yellow right there. So he is maybe thinking that there will be safety cars here and banking on that big time. I believe the VSC is about to end here. It is. And we'll see if anyone gets drive-thrus. There's one. Danny got it for V-Carb. And look at Alex Norris already pressurizing Egg. He really put him on his toes there on the VSC restart. And Alex Norris does not go for a move, but he's still staying content with our 2 leaders for Red Bull.
Yeah, but he'll have a little bit of trickiness to try to get past Egg once this goes into effect. Yeah, there is Tadpole out of the event, as we noted there.
That's a shame.
So yeah, I believe he definitely did get rear wing damage after reversing too hard and on the clock in the wall. I mean, that spot where he spun out is a little tight, to say the least. So it is unfortunate. Woo! That's Danny
Gaggy had a terrible Tier 2 race yesterday after those kind of moves, but he almost put one on Danny, and he's trying to get by the driver with a drive-through. Maybe getting a little impatient and frustrated is the Malta/British driver. But Gaggy knows if he does not pass Danny, he has no chance of getting in the top 13, who are all on that DRS train. Sorry to cut in, but that was super close action from Gaggy and Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. It is quite intense between these guys here. Let's see what Egg's got. He's about 7/10 behind Gecko, so we will have the DRS available to him. However, Alex Norris, oh no, he's in the DRS, so he is good. He's definitely way good there.
Look at
George
this.
coming in. Hello, George.
Jack getting Cookie. George on the inside of Egg as well. George dive bomb gets through. Alex Norris tagged the rear wheel of the Red Bull, not allowing him to stay side by side. George in a second. He got 2 and 1, and Danny will serve his drive-through. But yeah, Alex Norris, I thought he was going to deliver one right there. He didn't. Here's George delivering a move on him. Egg re-overtaking for 2nd place now. Back in front for a Red Bull 1-2, but Egg almost went too deep right there. You got to be very careful on the brakes. Someone who was is Ding. He clears teammate Cryptic for 8th place. So it's all happening inside of our points positions right now. And like we said, Tadpole, the only driver out of this race.
Yeah, so we have a couple of DRS trains here. So we have 2nd through 7th. They're in the DRS train. Egg leading it with GTK at the back. Skither, by the way, just overtook Cryptic for P9. I think Cryptic must have made a mistake out of turn 6.
He did, and Cryptic decided to let him go, and it was the smart move because you do not want to go side by side there at turn 7. That's the corner before the castle section. That's what I was freaking out about at the beginning part of lap 1. There were 2 cars going side by side there. I believe it was the Haas of Knights and a V-Carb, and you don't want to continue it into turn 8. That's where the disaster will strike if you do. You said it happened in F2 where cars went side by side there. You just don't want to do it. You will lose time even if you try it. And speaking of trying things, I'm sure Egg will be trying to get back in DRS of teammate Gecko. But right now, Gecko is having a monstrous race in terms of his pace. Behind that, Alex Norris not waiting any longer. He's going to try to do what George did. 2-1 right here. George on the outside. Egg gets split. Jack gets him as well. Alex Norris second. George third, but only just. Jack Miles clears the Welshman. So both Welshmen trade places. Ding got Andrea. Andrea got Cryptic. Knights got Goggy. There's places trading everywhere you look. But Jack Miles and Alex Norris were the 2 big winners down that main straight. They took full advantage of the dose of DRS they got and the ERS management they had.
Yeah, Jack getting past George, even though they were on 2 different teams. Bear in mind, though, George is on loan to Aston. He's part of the Alpine McLaren Academy. So George and Jack are essentially teammates as, Jack clipped the inside wall, turn 5, turn a tiny bit too early, clipped the inside wall, but he is okay. Don't see any damage on that McLaren at this moment as he goes through turn 7. But yeah, Alex Norris did not want to wait, and Egg came out the worse for wear. He was in 2nd before the DRS, now dropped all the way down to 5th by the time we hit turn 1. And because of that little battle, Gecko stretches that lead just a little bit more. It's now 1.7 seconds compared to, well, before the straight, it was 1.3.
Look at the pace Gecko has under his belt. 1.7, and I know he just rode that curb there. That's one thing you got to be careful about with these curbs. If you ride them like that, you can get stuck on them. He may have lost a 10th from it, but obviously no pace loss from him. He's got a lot of ERS on use here, and he's still gaining on that gap with him and the 2nd place car. Alex Norris under threat. Egg getting George there. Egg repassing the friend of his, George Williams, and fellow admin. TB also gets Cryptic in the background, so TB has jumped up into the top 10. That's very vital considering the tire he's on. He's on the hards.
Egg doesn't have DRS.
Alex Norris just smacking the wall there. That's crucial. So 2 different trains here with these guys. Jack Miles on the inside, and Jack Miles has passed. He's in 2nd in this race, and especially after the qualifying he had, the race pace and the start definitely changed things. He bogged down at the start, got the places back, and now is gained 3 compared to where he started.
And further on back, also take a look at it with Jack's teammate TB. He started all the way down in P15, had a little bit of struggles and all that stuff, but now TB is in the points. He is in 11th, 10th. He overtook Cryptic to get himself into P10 and back into the points. Well, he's got Ding and Skither to chase down, but then it's a little bit of a drive until he gets to GTK, who is currently playing around with both Astons right now for that 5th place.
Game on between Jack Miles and Gecko almost. Jack Miles flirting with the dose of DRS there. Not activated until the main straight as we know it, but that gap has shrunk. 1.2 now the deficit. Knights has been overtaken by Blue Goggy for 14th, so Goggy's number in his gamer tag is the same in his place on the circuit. I almost smacked the wall there. But Cookie and George are the 2 assets in front of JTK. This will be a spicy battle to look for, but Jack did not get DRS, so our focus is for 5th place here. 2 teammates, 2 rivals, you could say. They collided in Abu Dhabi last season, but George into the pit lane. Does he have damage, or is he going early on these softs? You gotta question it at least. He is early on these softs, so he'll go soft hard, it looks to be. JTK now, the next driver to chase after Cookie. These 2 also had a battle at the season finale last season in Abu Dhabi. Once again, we hope this is clean. And George, hard tires. No surprise there. Knights pits.
Yeah, as I said, this is what he did, the soft to hard strat. This was what Owen did last season when he, well, bear in mind, he wasn't in the Aston,
Trouble.
He was in Williams.
Incident.
Yeah, that's
Red fire.
Red fire.
Yep, he was spun there at turn 2. I'm not sure why, but George comes out of the pit lane ahead of Goatley, and Knights, I believe he pitted for damage. Danny lets red fire go, so Danny may have got involved in that too. I think Danny might have let him go because of maybe being the one to cause it. Not sure what happened. But we do know, Titan, as you were saying with that strategy, it'll be very interesting to look out for. What we're looking out for now is the fact that Jack Miles has clawed in our race leader, Gecko. So did Gecko make mistakes?
Yes.
Or is Gecko not turning on the battery yet? You just got to wonder, has he killed his tires pushing it like that?
I think it's probably just in the pace-wise itself, because the last 2 laps, Jack has been 2 laps ago. Jack was 2/10 faster than Gecko, and then last lap, Jack was 1.2 seconds faster. But here we go. Jack clawing in, goes on the inside. Speed demons pass, and at 215 miles an hour, Jack Miles is leading, heading into turn 1.
TB just jumped up a place there. He got dinged.
Yes.
And Andrea is in as well. So early pit stops happening right now. Drivers may be sick of the medium tire, wanting to get off them. You see George not the only one, Knights as well. But Jack Miles just flew by Gecko right there to take over the lead. And our driver, who started all the way down in P5 and lost places originally on the start, is now the leader of this race. He got on the podium here for Sauber, what used to be called Alfa Romeo. He got a Ferrari podium here back in Season 10, and he got a win here in Season 11. The third time was the charm, but he's now looking for back-to-back Baku wins.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Andrea came out in P16. He is behind Goat Lee, so he is on a hard compound tire, so he should be good for the rest of the race on that compound. Same with George, he should be fine as well. Red Fire swapped to the medium compound tires. I believe he started on the hards, so he's gonna have to go in again later on. Yeah, he started on the hards, so Red Fire is gonna be having to do another pit stop later on, so that is really going to hurt him just a bit. But by the way, Alex Norris has just caught up to the front too as well.
Yeah, he was a part of that fight with Jack Miles. He let him go, and it's probably the smartest thing to do. He's keeping himself in contention for later on in the day. JTK, I just want to give a big shout out to him. Up in 5th for Alpine. That's a mega result if he stays there. Lots of racing still to go. And as we always say by the end of the race, well done, Baku. We'll probably be saying that later on for certain reasoning. But right now, Skither jumps Cookie. That's 6th place on our boards. TB looking to go the long way around on Cookie. Up and under, switch back, successful.
Nice.
TB on the inside is not yet clear, but he does clear the McLaren. Remember, Cookie tried to shut the door on a McLaren on lap 1, and TB shut the door on him this time. TB trying to pull off a good comeback drive, and right now he's got a lot of pace in store. He's doing a mega job.
Yeah, that was a very nice up and under attack by TB there. He caught Cookie napping right on that exit of turn 1. I mean, Cookie did try to fight back before they got to turn 2, but it could not be saved there, unfortunately. But you got to give fair credit to Cookie for at least giving it an effort and a try.
Agreed.
But TB up in the 7th place now, and he's got Skither just ahead of him, and Skither is currently right behind GTK right now. GTK, by the way, just playing the silent game right now for where he is right in this race.
Gecko had a little slip up there, exiting the castle section, almost lost DRS. He's had to use ERS in that section to end the sector, just to avoid not being in DRS, and that's a big moment from Gecko. Gecko is going to lose out on DRS to Jack Miles, our leader. Jack Miles can run away with it right now. After that slip up, once again from Gecko. Mistakes from the Red Bull driver, just not what we like to see. And Alex Norris dipping off, he'll be pitting. The smart thing to do, because you want to keep it within those white lines, especially considering we've had drivers penalized in the past for that, entering the pit lane.
And Rex Flynn being an example of it, he would have had...
Lost Haas a victory, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was very big, especially on a chaotic day. You know there's going to likely be a safety car later on. There just always is safety cars around the circuit. It's like Jeddah with the amount of safety cars we have here. But JTK on the inside of Egg, thinking about it, but not going for it. Egg remains in 3rd. Remember, other drivers have pitted, so this is not too representative of where they'll finish. That's why JTK is 4th right now in the Alpine. Alex is pitted. George is pitted. Gagi also goes with the hard compound tire. Remember, he was running back there, so the fact that he's undercut is a good thing for him to try and jump up a few places for what could be a 2nd Tier 1 points finish.
Yeah, Alex Norris, by the way, as you mentioned, when he comes out of the pits, he is right behind his academy teammate of Maxwell in P12 right now. So probably Maxwell would just maybe want to get out of the way and let his teammate through, and he does so in turn 6. So Alex Norris is up into 11th, but all the cars ahead have yet to pit later on. So I wonder if, since Alex Norris was on the mediums and gone to the hards, I wonder if this is going to play into an advantage for Alex Norris when the top 2 pit shortly.
And who joins him? Who's the first one to join Alex Norris? Who blinks next now is the question. Gecko's losing a lot of time. I would hope he comes off and pits, but he does not. He's going to stay out once again. Further behind, a DRS battle here. A kerfuffle of cars into turn 1. JTK passes Egg, who comes in. Skither in the DRS and is going to stay in line there. Remember, these two have some bad blood. It was Singapore they collided, and I'm pretty sure the fact that Skither's singing Alpine in front of him, he's saying, okay, I remember this. I hope we don't have anything happen this time. But yeah, more come in. Cookie, Ding, Penguin. Those are the next ones approaching the pit lane. Here's Skither on the move. TB's there as well. Skither and TB both pass the Alpine of JTK. So JTK forfeits 2 places there in 1. And hard tires for those who came in. No surprise there. You got to get the undercut. And especially for those struggling on the tires, Titan. Ooh. I feel like it's right to pit now.
Yeah, I was going to say the undercut did not play well because Egg is actually ahead of Alex. And Cookie
maybe
just
Alex
got
had
ahead
a bad,
of him.
Yeah, maybe Alex had a bad outlap because, yeah, you got a point.
Yeah, because he was behind Maxwell for a little bit. Well,
maybe
Alex
didn't get
just got
out
out
of
of the way
George,
enough.
and Andrea's lagged out or went off. Andrea ghosted. Yeah, Andrea had an off right there, right behind George and Maxwell. Got it back going though. Luckily,
maybe Maxwell didn't get out of the way quick enough to Alex's liking, perhaps. So that would explain why Egg now has the advantage. It's 22 seconds right now. So I think if he does well on this next couple of outlaps, maybe Egg could possibly jump his teammate in Jack. Speaking of the leader, Jack is in. Uh-oh, Gecko.
Incident. Maxwell's around. I'm not sure what happened there, but he was facing the wrong way and with damage.
Yeah, and I saw Jack go in, I was on board with Gecko. Gecko, well, you know that thing we were talking about with Flynn? It happened with Gecko. Yeah,
oh boy.
Gecko crossed the white line to enter the pits.
Ding almost hit Alex on the braking, and Ding cut off Cookie. A lot of maneuvers down that straight. Ding trying to protect the place on an Academy teammate. Very aggressive there. Maxwell speeds in the pit lane. Hopefully he stays in the race, but he had damage, so that makes sense as to why he sped and couldn't get it mowed down. But Cookie has to concede not 1 but 2 places right there. Alex Norris through, Ding through. And as you were saying about those who pitted that lap, Jack Miles on those hards, clear of Gecko by almost 3 seconds. Egg behind, JTK in 4th, and just shy of what could be a podium here. I believe he's running line in this race compared to no line in Tier 2, but this performance could get him not allowed to run Tier 2 any longer.
Yeah, JTK, well, I mean, to be fair though, JTK is a reserve driver, so that's just how things are for him. But yeah, so Jack is on fresh hards, Gecko's same, Egg about a lap behind. So yeah, I think the undercut is not the way to go. So when you pit,
that's surprising.
Yeah, so it's wild. I'm not gonna lie, but we still have 3 cars out on the track right now. That being TB, Skither, and Cryptic. But I believe we know there's a reason why. It's because they are on. I was gonna say maybe they're on the hard compound tires, but now Cryptic is now in. TB is actually the one that started on the hard compound tires. Skither is on the medium still.
I think Skither's more so banking on a safety car. He knows how previous races have gone around this circuit. JTK slots in behind Egg after sneaking a peek there for a moment. Yeah, I think for Skither's case, you're staying in DRS of TB, who's on the hards. Probably the crossovers already happened, so yeah, you really just want to try and gain as much time seeing what this overcut has done. And maybe not what the overcut has done, but what the undercut hasn't done. The undercut super powerful on other circuits, but tonight, not the case for those drivers. Danny also coming in. He was one of the others who still stayed out. He is on hards. Max still red fire on mediums. And of course, once TB pits, he'll be on the better, maybe fresher rubber.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But let's see what's going to be happening here when these guys do eventually pit. We know Skither will probably be expecting him in probably about a lap or so. TB could definitely will be stretching it just a little bit. I wonder if he'll do the opposite of what George did, because bear in mind, as we mentioned it, George did do a soft to hard strategy. So I wonder, could TB possibly do a reversal of it, go hard to soft for him? I wonder if that is in the books here. But looks like Skither is coming in. He does follow it right. So Skither is in from second place. Yes, he did pretty good.
He just timed it too. I thought he was not going to do it, but yeah. No surprise there from Skither pitting now. Got that out of the way. TB still staying out and the leader of our race. Maybe banking on a safety car as we said previously. JTK on the move. Overtaking Egg now. Just breezing by the Red Bull. And JTK, because of that move, is onto the net podium unless Skither beats him out of the pit lane. We've seen pit lane collisions happen here, most recently in F2 a long while back, but Skither jumps JTK right there. So Skither, who had a terrible qualifying, knocked out in Q2, is in the top 5 right now, and he's got a rear gunner. Alex Norris, his teammate, is there for the assist. Ding and Cookie, Academy teammates, close for comfort, keeping it the same way into turn number 3.
Yeah, so Skither is going to be, Skither in the 4th place position. Very nice stuff there. So him doing a bit of the overcut worked out for him. Had a bit of an evil moment coming out of 6th though, so this could put him extremely vulnerable as once this DRS comes into play. So we could be seeing GTK, Egg, and Alex Norris taking advantage to try to get by. Because we did see it happen earlier when Egg lost 3 spots. Earlier on, will Skither be falling victim to the same fate?
We do have some positions outside the points up for grabs. Gagi just got eaten alive there for 14th place. Knights does the up and under and goes through. So not bad right there. TB, our leader, staying out, of course. He's on the hards, as you may have noticed. But 3/10 the deficit between Skither and JTK. We had a crash here at Cam that caused a safety car later on in this race that allowed Skither to win via the stewards room. But right now, it's 4th place up for grabs. Net P3 right here. JTK, inside line, going past alongside. Egg's also alongside too. Lots of wheel movement there, so I'm not sure what that's about from JTK. Maybe upset with Skither, but he does cover off Egg there and slams the door shut into turn 1. Egg will now have a DRS, a dose of DRS down to turn 3, and will activate that baby very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Egg had a good amount of straight line speed heading into it, but GTK little later on the brakes as it is. Just in the background, by the way, Cookie getting past Ding to put himself into P8. Very good for the Aston Martin driver. But yeah, GTK braked a little later going into turn 1 and took advantage of it to keep Egg behind at this present moment. But GTK really doing decently in the Alpine right now.
Again, I believe this race he's running with line compared to running no line in Tier 2, and Knights, who's battling Gagi, is suffering from wing damage. It's not the only Haas and Williams battle on this circuit. We also have Maxwell, who jumped up to 18th ahead of Red Fire. Again, the battle not to be last. Maxwell has that 10-second sped in the pit lane with that damage early on, and it's like a flashback to old days of RPL with these two. Season 4, Season 5, the OGs, as you say it earlier. Some of these guys weren't even thinking of RPL at that time. TB, our leader, is going to box, and he did get it within the white lines there, entering the pit lane. Very safe entry from TB, but almost sped right there. Just got it mowed down. Meanwhile, you spoke of that battle for 4th. This could become 3rd place, and it may have TB rush up to this fight early on. Egg behind JTK, but for how much longer? Gaining alongside and through. Egg is ahead, and JTK cuts off Skither right there. Oh, he may have got touched by Skither. Contact potentially made, but Skither wiggled, and side by side out the pit lane, TB nudges ahead, but Egg has a dose of DRS down to turn 3. TB does not. TB trying to protect the place and will stay in front.
Yeah, TB playing the defensive maneuvering there. JTK thought about sneaking a peek as well going into turn 3, but just did not see a chance to get it done there. But yeah, so TB comes out in 3rd place. He's about just under 3.5 seconds behind Gecko, but he is on fresh mediums. So that means TB will be clawing in quite a bit of an excess gap to try to reach Gecko and eventually maybe his teammate. But I mean, to be fair, his qualifying being quite up in the air, I wonder maybe his TB setup was not up to snuff. That maybe it could be affecting him here in the race.
Still the DRS train for 4th, and TB has ran away with it, so his next target is Gecko. We still have attacks going on for their back. Goggy trying to protect 14th. Goatley and Danny having a little scrap there for 16th. George and Andrea's 11th, but if anything happens inside this top 10, that will become a point spot. Crash! We have an incident. That's Goatley, who's crashed in the castle section and backed it in the wall just like his teammate did. That could be damage to the rear wing. 3 wide down the main straight. JTK, Skither, and Egg are the ones going at it. Skither having a go at the inside on turn 1, and they do keep it clean. The wheel-to-wheel action did work out that time compared to Singapore last season. More crashing. Goatley's out. Safety car deployed. It's another Baku safety car mid-race or late race. This changes everything, and JTK and Skither are probably proud they passed Egg there before the safety car got deployed. Goatley, the second driver out of the race. It's another Kick-Sauber double retirement. And Knights and Goggy are very quick to come into the pit lane. Actually, they may have collided at pit entry.
Yeah, that will be a little while there, but yeah, so safety car at it again for Baku. So now this is gonna bear a question.
What do you do?
Yeah, this is now gonna bear a question. What will the drivers ahead do? Because I mean, we have under 10 laps to go. TB is on fresh mediums, so I don't think he's gonna come in. But everyone else that are on the hard compound tires, they could possibly go in.
Maxwell's just had the longest 10 seconds of his life. He had to serve this penalty and now goes back out. All the drivers who pitted went on to mediums. And I believe Red Fire there, if he did pit, he did get put back on new mediums. So we're going to see what happens here. Choices to be made. And will it be a good decision or a bad decision? I think TB here has to stay out. Unless he goes softs, which I don't see happening.
Yeah.
But we could have more safety cars to come, so I could see why someone would. Our leader, Jack Miles, enters the pit lane, and we're going to make sure everyone stays within those white lines. Gecko
doesn't.
2 wheels on it. 2 wheels on it, but we'll see what they say. TB is in. JTK stays out. JTK for Alpine is staying out on hard compound tires and will lead the Grand Prix. Mediums for Jack, mediums for Gecko, and TB may have a new set of mediums, but has to double stack. And it'll cost some time. Egg on softs. That's a shocker right there. TB gets held. TB gets held momentarily, but just stays ahead of Skither. So everyone choosing to pit except for JTK. But of those drivers pitting, only Egg elected to go with soft compound tires. More double stack.
Those two tires in for Gecko. That's what happened. That's what happened actually to Lat on his first stop as well. So we may have to ask and figure out what is the deal, what is the story on that. Is it fine with 2 wheels, or does all 4 have to be on? If it is all 4, if all 4 has to be within that white line, then Gecko could be looking at 2 violations.
Yeah, well, we have more drivers pitting. Danny, Red Fire. But JTK leading this race. Is he leading for the sake of his academy teammate? Is he trying to get something himself? Does he find a lot of pace on those hards compared to maybe going to a medium compound? Does he not have new medium compounds? That's something you have to wonder. But the Dutchman leading the race for the first time in Tier 1. And Alpine leading once again in Tier 1 as well. This is not due to any sort of pit cycles. This is due to technically pure pace. He was up there in the top 5 and just chose not to pit from strategy. And like we said, everyone on the mediums, Egg and JTK, though, they are not. I feel like Egg is expecting more safety cars to come, because why would you go soft tires when George only went 5 laps on them? It's something you have to question.
Yeah. I'm just taking a peek at the RPL driver rulebook. I'm looking at the section where it says, like, under the prohibited behavior. Into the section it says unsafe pit entry. The detail of it says entering the pits without making reasonable effort to stay within the pit exit line, or unfairly obstructing another vehicle. In the parentheses, it also says where applicable and where pit exit line are enforced as indicated by officials. So we'll have to see in regards to it, depending on what is going to be happening. But let's see what we got going on here. So JTK is out on the track. He will be leading this Grand Prix. We have Jack in second place, Gecko in third, TB4, Skither 5, Egg in 6, Ding 7, Alex Norris 8, Cryptic 9, and Cookie in P10. That is what is going on there, as Red Fire to spend the pits. So that's gonna suck for him. But those out of the points right now, it is Andre in 11th, Torn Penguin 12, George in 13th, Goggy 14, Danny in 15th, Knights in 16, Maxwell 17, Red Fire in the pits in 18th, Spend the pits, so he's got a 10-second on his end, and we did lose both. We did lose both kick Saubers after that.
Interesting that he chose to go to softs, maybe indicating Egg's choice was the right one. I'm not sure. We'll be getting a restart, I believe, what 6-7 ago, something like that. With Goatley out of this race, I'm not sure what happened. Obviously, he crashed in the castle section. Like I said, backed into the wall, and may have spun after that from the rear wing damage. So, to some who will say, oh, well, that was intentional. Well, you don't know that, because the rear wing damage does have an effect on you, as you mentioned from what Tadpole had happened to him on the opening laps. He crashed, he backed into the wall, and both kicksaubers did, and the rear wing damage had a big effect. Goatley may have not been cautious, and it did become effective. Regardless, our safety car entering Sector 3 is still going to stay out here. Unless we get a late call. But Goatley has shaken up this race, and I really think we're going to have another wacky, wild end of Baku. Maybe it's not the last of the safety cars. We're going to find out here. But, I mean, what is JTK's plan here leading this race?
I mean, that is a good question. What could be going in through JTK's mind? Now, bear in mind, despite with the safety car, he is on the hard compound tires, and he's been on them for 8 laps. So he is, and I'm just gonna say this very truthfully, he is going to be very vulnerable in regards to pace and cornering ability on these older compounds. So, I'm just speaking it from experience, because last season at this track in another league, I took the gamble staying out with the safety car. I wound up regretting it hard. I'm not joking. I did the restart in first, and by the time the race ended, I finished in 14th. So so I mean, I don't know what GTK's thinking, but I hate saying it, but I think it was probably not a good thing. Not a good idea.
Red Fire went back to the pit lane to serve that 10-second and be halted for 10 seconds, of course, but changing back to soft compound tires and on a new set instead of a used set. We're going to see what happens here with that being said. One thing I did see in the Twitch chat, Goatley did not crash on purpose. He said his mom distracted him. So, Goatley does not have a goated mother, as to what we see right now, from what some would say.
I like that.
I had to put a pun into it. Why not, right?
You kind of had to.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff happens. I remember Owen's sister was distracting him in Hungary, which is why he crashed. Which is why he has the qualifying ban, I think. But, yeah. We're going to get a restart here regardless. Redfire has to catch this pack, and he will. He's not going to try and back off this time like I think he may have tried to do last time to prevent it from coming in. And, yeah, it's in this lap. Nonetheless, we will get 6 laps to decide this race. And we will have JTK leading the restart. Remember, everyone on mediums except for him who stayed out, Egg on softs, and Redfire on softs. What drama, what carnage will this race provide to end this one? What storyline will we have provided in this one? We have crashing further back, I believe, or positions trading at least. It's not a crash. It's Gagi and Danny trading places. Trying to dispute that place. But yeah, what headline will we have continue in Season 12 of RPL F1? We've had many races with many headlines, and I think someone rammed someone there in the S's. Might be damage to somebody's race, but if you're the leader, you gotta stay above pit lane speed, and he has. He's going, and he's gone. Racing once again in Baku underway. Skither right in the back of TB. Egg and Ding side by side. Lots of movement further back, but JTK still leads this race, and everyone has to be very careful of that. Here's the Constantina effect happening into turn 1. TB holds on for 4th, and that's Knights and Redfire almost coming together there. That turn 1 wall is tough. That's why side-by-side action is very risky there. Cookie gets Cryptic, and Cryptic is falling down. Here's Jack to the lead once again.
I was suspecting that Jack is gonna get past JTK, let him through. So that means JTK now can be the buffer and hold up for Gecko. That is going to be, well, a bit of a double-edged sword effect because, yes, he will be helping his academy teammate Jack to
Here we go.
Yeah, Gecko, ambitious.
Dive bomb on
Very
the inside,
ambitious.
tags the rear wheel, and side by side of the castle section, Gecko almost hits the wall, but he has TB there having to check up, and that causes a Constantina effect and cars running all over each other in the castle section. Because of that, further on back, Andrea jumps Cookie, so when you try to go side by side on the castle section, that's what happens. It's the cars behind having to react, and it was Cookie and Andrea almost coming together. 1.8 seconds now.
Yeah, this actually is now it may be a bit of a scummy thing to do, but you gotta give credit to GTK. That was actually a class defensive maneuvering, and it actually helped Jack out for sure. Because here comes Gecko on the outside, sorry, to get past GTK, and he does so. TB now gonna go on the inside. GTK definitely, I would have to say, relinquish that spot. Let TB through. He does so. So now
he'll have to go
GTK can
defensive
be
for
an
Skither.
annoyance.
Yeah, he can be. 2.4 the deficit between Gecko and Jack. While we had the safety car peel into the pit lane, we had Penguin go off at turn 2, and we had George moments ago get Cryptic. Maneuvers into turn 3. Skither on the inside. JTK going defensive once more. JTK holding on for 4th now, but is he going to remain there out of the exit of the corner? Skither getting the traction on corner exit, side by side. Cookie gets Andrea, and Skither breaks latest of the two. Side by side contact, both banging wheels, and JTK almost snubs the wall. Egg will get him and snicker him for 5th place. Now, Skither just cuts in front of the Red Bull and is losing DRS to our front pack. Side by side of the castle section, they think better of it, but it is Egg getting 5th place from it on those soft compound tires.
Now this is good. Like I said, this is definitely what JTK wanted to do. He helped Jack pull a gap to Gecko, and he helped TB out get a gap for Skither, because Skither 1.6 seconds.
Big dive, contact. Ding hits JTK, and they're still rubbing wheels. Now we're going to go side by side in the S section. The final couple of corners, which are flat out. Ding hits the wall, and Ding has been forced out from it. Alex Norris now going through and trying to put his nose in there. 3 abreast momentarily. Alex Norris with a lot of overspeed, getting maybe both.
God, my heart just skipped for a minute because I saw Ding.
He gets pinched! Contact! Lots of it! And places are trading further back, but Alex Norris is in 6th now. Or is he?
And JTK's not giving an inch, not giving a damn.
Here we go! TB gets Gecko! Egg gets Skither! It's all happening! Drama unfolding, and JTK contact! big dive! Big dive, it's Cookie from a long way back!
Ow!
More dives, Cookie's going at it again, trying to do another switchback on JTK. There were places trading outside of our points positions, but Cookie slams JTK, and Cookie punt to pass on the Alpine. JTK, ooh!
That
Almost
might
hits the
see the
barrier.
stewards room if submitted.
There's a lot of things at the end of this race that is going to see the stewards room. Skither and Egg are swapping for 4th now. Egg will get the help of DRS next time by. We'll get 3 laps to go here soon, but it's a mad dash to the finish. We had Goggy, Andrea, Danny, and even Cryptic outside the points fighting it out. But right now, we're dishing it out for 4th place on our boards. And assuming something happens with our top 3, this could potentially be a podium place.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we got Alex Norris all over the back, just harassing.
We're going to see 3 abreast.
Yes.
We're going to see 3 abreast. He's clipping his rear wheel. They're trying not to box one another in, but Gecko gets TB. 3 wide momentarily.
Skither relinquishes to let Alex Norris through ahead of Egg. But now Alex Norris can turn the jets on and chase Egg down here. DRS active. Will Alex Norris make a move on the inside? No, he's going to go the outside. Long way around into the braking zone.
3 wide.
Yee, little contact there, but Alex Norris successful. Gets Egg for 4th. I think
This train now goes all the way back to 16th Titan. This is not over.
Damn.
We've got Blue Goggy dishing it out with Danny here for 12th. Could be points by the end of this. No one has any penalties, but Egg gets overtaken. Ferraris are 4-5 now. This could be a mega result for them considering their disastrous season.
I think maybe those softs have completely fallen off a cliff on Egg here.
Yeah, but if he realized Skither was faster, that may be why he let him by right there. Unless he made a mistake. But Skither in DRS of Alex Norris. DRS pursuit right there. Our leader, Jack Miles, has stretched out the gap to a 2.3 second lead with what's going to be 2 to go. The Welshman in control once again of a Grand Prix this season. And our championship leader, for a matter of fact. Trying to look for what could be for him win number 9 overall. Ding, getting hungry here for a place in our top 6. He wants to get by Egg in no time. George fighting JTK. TB gets Gecko. George jumping up to 9th. 3 abreast once more.
Almost 3 wide.
Oh, Cookie slaps the inside wall. He might have got away with it, but that could be lime green damage to the Aston Martin driver. Egg is hanging on for dear life. Cutting off the Aston now. The Aston's on the inside. That's Cookie, what was our Season 10 winner, not giving up. Contact, crash, Egg in the wall. I was going to say our Season 10 winner until the stewards room, but definitely, no doubt that's something that could see the stewards room. Egg has massive damage, and there's a crash for their back. Cryptic got slammed in the wall. That was with red fire.
Oh, that... Man, is Mercedes just falling apart?
This is carnage.
And now with Egg all the way down in 10th, look what this needs. Look who's right behind him and could possibly steal a point from Egg if he manages to make a maneuver. Andrea is in P11 while the roadblock from the restart, JTK, is still in 9th place. He's still in the points.
2.7 the gap. McLaren 112. How does TB defend his 2nd place run he's currently got? Gecko behind him. Will he breeze by the McLaren now becomes the question. TB had that scruffy qualifying session, now is making up with better race pace. Gecko not going for it yet. Into turn 1, still staying behind. George and Cookie are swapping it for 7th now. Cookie lets him go. George can get ding, and he might just.
Here comes Andrea.
Cookie almost hits his teammate, and you're right, Andrea on the inside of Egg. Side-by-side action here for 10th, the last point spot. And Danny says, hello there, I want some of the action too. 2nd place changes hands. Gecko in front of TB. Now TB has the dose of DRS down the main straight on the final lap ready for him. George gets ding, and Egg gets overtaken for 10th.
Yeah, but it's gonna mean that there's gonna be a war here. So if Andrea, whoa, slide! Andrea just drifted through turn 4, get clocked, yellow bump by Egg, and damage to Andrea. I wonder if he just drifted into turn 4 there. 'Cause I don't think there was contact.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. Second and third. This is going to be a drag race down to the wire once again. It's not for the win, but it's for second.
We're going to have multiple here. We're going
to have to switch very quickly here. No doubt about it. Ding and George are dishing it out. We might see DRS tactics here. George is backing up Ding. Here's the DRS tactics starting already. Contact. Lots of it there. Look at that. Our race winner, Jack Miles, is going to extend the championship lead. Once again, he wins in Baku. Back-to-back for Jack. He wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Gecko is second over TB. And to the line, Cookie, George, Ding, JTK. Who's it going to be?
Ooh.
Skither got Alex Norris to the line. Unbelievable. They somehow are still going. Look at 3 wide. The last point spot went to Danny, but Egg just nudged out Andrea. Knights nudged out Red Fire. Cookie missed out on George. Ding missed out on GTK. Skither got Alex Norris with the fastest lap as well. And TB missed Gecko by 2/10. What was that? Like 5 photo finishes down to the wire right there? Jack Miles, back-to-back in Baku.
And TB, by the way, just said it. 15th to 3rd. I'll definitely take it.
Driver of the day for me.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
I agree.
Great race. Jack Miles with a close second in terms of that driver of the day. He really put up the fight after the poor start he had, bogged down, and didn't give up. Jack Miles extends his championship lead over the fake TB and, well, throws a fist in the air. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. It's probably how many times he's been on podium here at Baku. He's had so many here. But back-to-back wins for Jack. Last season was a drag race down to the wire. This season, he'll spray the champagne with a dominant victory this time, I think. No doubt about it. 3 seconds clear of Gecko. TB third. Skither fourth as well from being knocked out in Q2. Another contender for driver of the day, but I'm not going to give it to him. Again, TB my driver of the day. Yeah. Alex Norris's best Tier 1 finish once again. Beating that previous one by 5 places. Skither, again, good contender for driver of the day, but not my first choice. George 6th, Aston Martin, good showing there. Ferrari, good showing considering their season. 7th for Cookie in his return. JTK hung on for points, but again, with his contact subject to Stewart's room. Same for Cookie because he got into an incident on lap 1 with Jack. Jack's race could have ended there. Luckily, it didn't.
Yeah.
Ding and Danny, not Ding and Dom. Ding and Danny this time, 9th and 10th. Found a new thing to laugh about. Egg from pole finishes 11th, and that stat where we talked about the pole sitters winning round 1 through 3, not winning since then, continues. And here's your remaining results here.
Yeah. So with these points, with the points going in here, so we'll take a look at with Jack and TB. So that means that unofficial after this race, Jack will extend to having a 19-point lead over TB next week. And in regards to the points for those two against Leo, Jack will now have a 67-point lead over Leo Lund, and TB will have a 48-point lead over Leo Lund going into next week's race.
Jack Miles has been on the podium in Baku for 4 straight seasons. He's won in 2 straight seasons. But you may, as Jack says once again, it's not Baku for him. It's Jaku.
Jaku. I did see that. Yes.
Miles masters it once again. It must be said. Yeah. Not the carnage we had last season, but still the dramatic race we had once again this season. Is it fair to say well done, Baku, again? Well done, Jaku?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We gotta love this circuit. It provides so much entertainment, and I can't wait for it. We have F2 in Imola tomorrow, and I actually might be there. I don't know if you heard.
What?
We got a snowstorm. We got a snowstorm coming, and well, if everything goes to plan, like we usually have people getting cut from work if it's dead, which it probably will be. It'll probably be dead. Or sorry, I shouldn't say that. Maybe some of you will be offended by that word. It'll be slow. It'll be slow. But
Yeah, I don't think I'll be I don't think I'm gonna be.
I know, but you have soft people out there, so I
won't
gotta
be able to.
I know, but you have soft people out there, so that's why I'm gonna say slow instead of dead. But no, I mean, if it's slow like we expect it to be, and I get cut, I'll be here to do F2 with whoever's doing it. Potentially Polish, potentially Invade. I don't know who else could be, but I know you're racing it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, or tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow, yeah. But any closing thoughts on Baku before we tell you about our next race in Singapore?
Who knows? Who knows? But I'm just taking a look at something.
I'll have one more thing to say when you're done with it, by the way.
Nah, it doesn't really look like a. Apparently, F1 Shorts. Goat Lee was streaming, so apparently someone was thinking that probably Goat Lee's crash was intentional.
Stream sniping.
Stream sniping, yes.
You know what I do have to say, though, to end off the stream in terms of our race today? I want to give a huge props to Alex Norris. He was previously a Tier 3 driver. He has worked his tail off to become this fast in this game. And he went from being Tier 3 to now Tier 1. That's not even happened in RPL's history. But he has found a huge, massive improvement on pace. And he finished right behind a Tier 1 champion today. A 2-time Tier 1 champion for good measure.
Yes.
He also finished ahead of the Season 10 champion. He also beat the Season 1 champion. Times are changing here in RPL. No doubt about it. But Alex Norris, P5, I don't doubt that'll be his last chance in that Ferrari this season with that performance. Remember, Sauber driver next game. Really good effort there. I have to give the props to it. JTK, who stayed on the hards, only fell back to 8th. Cookie returned after not doing some races here. He said, put me Tier 2, put me Tier 2. Well, we put you in the points today. Good efforts there. I want to give good shout outs to those guys who we don't talk about enough.
Yeah, very much so.
Ferrari had a big haul of points, which they desperately needed. They were nowhere compared to Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship. 70 points behind the British team. And yeah, Ferrari have had a woeful season. They score 23 points in tonight's race. Thinking about it, that's only a fifth of their points from this season. We've ran 12 races, so I mean, that's how bad their season's been. But maybe this is where they turn it around to not fall into the clutches of VCarb, who are in 6th. But yeah, as we said, F2 tomorrow in Imola. Stay with us for that one. That'll be our last race this weekend. Tier 3 is Spain. Again, apparently subject to change. We'll find out on that. We'll give you any updates. With that being said, maybe we'll post something on our community page on the YouTube for those of you who do tune in to RPL, but don't join our Discord server at least, though. For those of you who are outside of it. And Tier 2 in Zandvoort for next week as well. But what's important is our next race, F1 in Singapore. We've had lots of races around there. Just like we said today, the chance of safety car probability around that circuit is also just as high as this one. We'll find out if it does happen or not. Titan, just to end off the stream, any expectations into Singapore? We have previous opening laps or previous race starts, whatever that series was we had on YouTube, returning this week. So we'll get to see what the previous races were like around there on the start. But what do you expect for next week's race on the streets of Marina Bay?
Well, this track is quite a technical track, so who knows what to expect. And you never know on if the weather will be playing an effect as well. If the weather does play no effect, it'll be quite interesting, to say the least.
One thing I want to note before we end off tonight, I've got an answer from Jack on that whole pit lane thing. I asked, at Baku, is it fine on pit entry to have only 2 wheels on the beginning white line? He said no, but even so, the commit line is literally a meter before the pit wall, so it's physically impossible to cut it. So just gonna make this aware ahead of time. If you do see any changes, if Gecko does lose second or maybe even third, he could lose it and fall even further down the order, and it might give Skither a podium finish. Nonetheless, F2 tomorrow in Imola to cap off the weekend. Tune in for that. But if you don't tune in for that, definitely tune in for our next Tier 1 outing in Singapore, round 13 of the season, to continue quite the storyline-filled season in RPL F1 Season 12. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. He's RPL Titan Iron, and we're saying goodnight. Good night and goodbye. We'll see you next time.